Calix here with Mr. Factoid, Sports with Mr. Factoid fame. Check him out at Mr. Factoid on Twitter. Shout out your website real quick.
That's sportswithmrfactoid.com. Check that out, man. Real simple blog. Real easy, sportswithmrfactoid.com.
One of the best shows on Blog Talk Radio as well. Great show. Also, a Chris Tucker lookalike. I heard y'all are doing a new Friday coming up, you and Ice Cube. What's up with that?
I have no comment on anything going on in the acting world at this point in time. Chris Tucker, the actual guy, he owes me money.
All right. Canelo Alvarez. We saw him coming off that victory against Shane Mosley, who's about 80 years old at this point. But looked okay doing it. Put together some nice combinations. I like watching the fight. One of my top 5 fighters to watch in the game. Very exciting. Like watching the kid fight. Still young, 21 years old. Rumors of him fighting Paul Williams next. There's also been rumors of James Kirkland, but it seems to me the Paul Williams rumors are gaining strength, has some legs to it. What's your thoughts on that fight? I like that fight a lot, although Paul Williams is really coming off that loss to Lara 2 fights ago, even though they gave him the victory. He did unanimous decision over Ishida, 120 to 108 on all 3 scorecards. 3 fights ago, got planked by Sergio Martinez. So hasn't exactly been on fire, but I still like the fight. I still like the matchup. What's your thoughts on Canelo versus Paul Williams?
You know, I find it to be an interesting fight, actually. I think it would be a really good stylistic matchup when you talk about what Paul Williams does, the volume puncher, the guy who's going to throw 1,200 punches around, 1,000 to 1,200 punches for the fight overall, versus, a guy like Canelo Alvarez, still young, still maturing, still developing, still some holes in his game. When I look at Paul Williams, I think a lot of people think he's shot out that, the brutal knockout against Sergio Martinez, of course, the controversial win over Erislandy Lara, which was, it's all about perspective. Those judges were suspended. They haven't been brought back. So a lot of people can be just in complaining about that decision. So it wasn't a great necessarily performance for Paul in that fight, followed up by the win over, I believe, over Ishida. In a fight he kind of needed for his confidence. I think, he's still a guy that can present problems for the right opponent. And I think when you look at Canelo, he throws really hard, we talk about how hard the punches are that he's landing, but he doesn't have a high volume. He doesn't have a high work rate. And what you'll see him do, even in the fight against Shane Mosley, what you saw him do was wait. And he's waiting to get off. He's waiting to load up with the jab and the right hand behind it, maybe some combination punching. But with a guy like Paul Williams, who's all activity all the time, you'll look for him to be able to press the action and to still, throw his 100 punches around. And a guy like Canelo who's not throwing those punches, I think based on that fact, I think it's a really interesting matchup. I don't see that Paul would knock Canelo out and vice versa. I haven't seen Canelo Alvarez knock anyone out of substance, of circumstance, even though they talk about how hard the kid hits. So I think it'd be a pretty good matchup. I think one that would actually be very fan-friendly and one that could do some pretty good numbers in terms of the financial gain.
And I hope they don't put that on pay-per-view, by the way. I hope they don't. I hope they keep it on regular HBO because I don't think Canelo is quite ready for that yet, even though he is putting up numbers, drawing people. I don't think he's quite ready to headline a pay-per-view yet, but I saw the plan for Schaefer is, the 3-fight plan is Paul Williams, then Cotto later this year, then Mayweather next year. That's ambitious for a 21-year-old kid, and it shows that they're ambitious about this kid. They like this kid, and I also think the ceiling is high. My worry is that they would rush him a little bit too soon, but at the same time, I think he's ready for that next level. I think he's ready for a Paul Williams type of fight, a Lara, a Cotto. I think Canelo versus Cotto would be a good fight. I think that's a good matchup. Even though I would favor Cotto, I still think it's a good matchup. I don't think he's ready for Mayweather. I don't think anybody quite is, to be honest, besides maybe Sergio Martinez at 160. But I still I like the game plan. I like that they're moving this kid along. I don't want to see him at the same fighting C-level guys for the next year or two. I think it's ready to time to step him up to that next level. And I'm glad they're doing it with Paul Williams. But I give Canelo a slight favorite. I have him as a slight favorite over Paul Williams. Would you?
I would be kind of torn on it. Once I take the bias out that I am a Paul Williams fan, once I take the bias out, most likely Canelo probably will see him landing the harder punches in the fight. Those punches that the judges will be able to see. Paul Williams is always open to be hit, even though he's throwing. So you'll be able to see a lot of those shots land on him flush and clean. So I would think most likely the betting lines would probably lean towards Canelo. I would maybe give him a slight edge in the fight. But I'll say this. I'm one of those people that believe that this kid's already a champion. We've already crowned him and put a belt on him and said he's a world champion. Yeah. You know, you've had 40 fights in your career. When are you going to start fighting legitimate people? And if you're not going to start doing it now, I could care less about 2 years from now. You know, it's time to face the big-time competitors. And if they're talking about a 3-fight situation to lead him up to Floyd Mayweather, then so be it. Is he ready for Floyd right now? Absolutely not. But you start with a guy like Paul Williams. Maybe you fight, you know, a Miguel Cotto. Those are excellent fights. Those are big names. He's a champion. Fight other champions.
That's a good point. You got the trinket. Defend it. Stop fighting C-level guys. Let's see you step up. I like Canelo Paul Williams. Seems like you like it as well. I would give Canelo a slight edge. Let's hear from the fans, though. What do y'all think? Would y'all like Canelo Paul Williams? Would you rather cut Canelo or James Kirkland? Do you like the 3-fight plan? Hit us up. Let us know. HailstormSports.com. Sports with Mr. Factoid. Check us out at Cali Sports, at Mr. Factoid on Twitter. Peace.